Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our final game of the day. We will be heading over to Group B to show you Meow 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 versus Habibi's Kittens, joined by FaZe, as always, to bring you this final action on day one.
Absolutely. And two teams we saw taken down earlier today. Obviously, we saw both these teams couldn't quite close out their games. It was Habibi's Kittens and the Kaisa Top just falling at the end of the game. And of course, not such a great start for Meow 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 either, but both these teams doing pretty decently in the brackets, have been doing pretty well off stream, and both with an opportunity to take it back, get a win, and look really good going into the second half of the group stage.
Yeah, we are already deep into draft for these two teams here in the client. We got another card this game. That's all we really need. But the Hecarim going to be an interesting matchup there.
Yeah, it looks like the teams actually did draft already on draft
Oh,
wall, so they're just
they're
kind of going
picking in a
through the
weird.
picks here.
Oh,
But
it
I
was a
guess
weird
we
order
can
because
still
Millie was first, so I was confused. I got you.
we can still do
Where is
we
it?
can still look at what champs are coming through and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Karthus really becoming a common pick in this tournament, and for honestly, I think we've yet to see Karthus win a game. Oh,
Last
or
game.
no, sorry, we just saw Karthus win a game. Oops, but yeah, so we've seen both Karthus do very well and very poorly so far in this tournament, and we'll have to see if how Karthus can do against Hecarim, who's a champion you can expect to be diving on this Hecarim or on this Karthus pretty regularly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We do have a good bit of side laning out from Habibi's, or not Habibi's Kittens, from Meow Meow as well. Camille, going to be an interesting pick, hoping to bully out the Ornn. In their first game for Habibi's Kittens, we saw that it was Rough Tough in the jungle playing the Jarvan while Flat Shark was in the top lane. For now, they seem to have switched. It will be Flat Shark playing the Karthus jungle, Rough Puff trying to just soak it up on the tank Ornn in top.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how this goes because Camille definitely a champion that does quite well into the Ornn, able to have a pretty easy laning phase, and a champion you definitely don't want to see get ahead going into the mid game. But yeah, I mean, putting your trust in Flat Shark on this Karthus jungle makes sense. He's proven he can carry on this type of pick before, and I think, especially into some of these squishier champions, that the what's the right side team? Meow 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 have picked. I think you're pretty happy to be playing Karthus here.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to make a lot of money off that Requiem throughout the mid game. We do see Jin Nami for the side of Meow Meow. An interesting combo. I feel like, I don't know, the one game of Ash Milio we saw was into Sona Karma, so that laning phase is kind of a bit fake. But it does seem like that lane can be very annoying later on, or it's going to be throughout the lane as they can really chase you down with all the slows and the range advantage that Milio provides. See how Jin Nami hangs in there in the bottom lane.
I mean, Ash absolutely one of the best picks on the current patch, so definitely going to be looking to Habibi to have a good performance on a champion that can not only dish out a lot of personal damage, but also set up his teams through things like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And also, once again, a double ADC comp coming out for Habibi's Kittens, playing around this Milio support who will be able to buff up both the long range Tristana and the long ranged Ass. So you're really going to have to see these dives coming through and being effective from champions like the Hecarim and the Camille if they want to shut down such a comp.
Yeah, definitely interesting side to see. I believe it was the Nidalee game we saw from uh, the Cat with Gun team, where they were trying to run these double marksmen. Didn't pan out too well for them, but this time a lot more reliable scaling with the Ornn, with the Karthus. I'm very sad that the Ornn upgrades no longer have fun little names, but they are still powerful all the same.
Yeah, and another person I really want to look to this game is Allura on this Syndra. I mean, we saw last time Allura getting shut down by Lou Killers, but in this matchup against Zero Domain, Allura has another chance to prove himself as one of the best mid laners in the tournament, along with people like Hoptech, and we'll see if he's able to do just that into this Tristana matchup, which I imagine is a pretty rough matchup, especially in the early game for the Syndra.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to get to that point where just able to crank through the combos for a lot of damage. But looks like we should be heading into game any moment now. Any particular team we're looking at here, any matchups, any who do you think's gonna win? Who do you think's gonna win? Let's just make it simple.
Who do I think's gonna win? I think this is the one of the hardest picks I've seen so far. I am going to lean. I'm going to believe in the Karthus this time. Last time I didn't believe in the Karthus. I was proven very, very wrong. And I think that Flat Shark can find a win on this champion. I think he's going to get so far ahead in the jungle that nothing the other team really does matters. And he's going to press one button and win the game.
There we go. A convert to the wonderful world of Karthus. Just makes it so easy. But now we are on to the Rift for our final game here. Habibi's Kittens versus Meow, Meow, Meow. As far as what's at stake, Habibi's Kittens currently sitting as the 4th seed in the group as at a record of 1-0-2 essentially. Meow Meow sitting on 2-0-1. So both teams trying to just keep themselves alive in the middle ground of the group.
Yeah, definitely not feeling too bad yet if you're either of these teams. Like 3 out of the 5 teams do make it to the bracket stage. So, I mean, definitely a win here would be important, but certainly not a loss here going to put you out of it. So, but I imagine both teams going to be playing hard. We see Habibi and Genesis opting for the barrier heal, so going to be very, very powerful in these 2v2s in lane. Whereas Destiny Seal going for that exhaust. How do you feel about the exhaust pick here? I feel like that's a bit weird. It's really just kind of Tristana you can shut down here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it pans out. I'm not sure how aggressive you would really be able to play in this lane. I do think heal barrier probably would pan out a tad better. The main thing I'm going to complain about to high heaven is Dark Harvest on Karthus. This rune is useless on this guy. You don't fight champions most of the time. You only fight every 5 minutes, and we have a pause. So hopefully that was just some sort of disconnect. It does look like Lyrax was ready. I think I have to reconnect because of a spectator works. Oh, no, we don't. Okay, we're easy money. But yeah, Dark Harvest Karthus, I just don't think he gets it off enough. He gets barely any bonus damage later on. And even if he does get bonus damage, like you could have just done the same damage if you were generating 30 gold every ult and got your item spikes faster with First Strike. But maybe Flat Shark will be able to prove me wrong here that this rune is useful.
So I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will say Kanavi did, or was it not Kanavi? Yeah,
It was Canyon.
Canyon did go hard.
Yeah.
Too.
I do remember. But even in that game, it did not do a lot, I feel. I think Canyon, he's marvelous. He's fantastic. He's wrong. And I think most Karthus players would agree.
From Shiv, but it seems like Flat Shark is in the school of Canyon.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that works out for him in this game. Meanwhile, I think pretty standard setups coming out across the board. Shwoogs did opt for that grasp, so I'm going to be able to trade very effectively in this lane. As you can see, Rough Tough Afropuff already having quite a hard time up in the top lane.
Yeah, we'll see how well the Ornn is able to survive up there. Jungler's going to end up on opposite sides, both of them just power clearing their way through. Jermaine hops in. Ball placement by Allura to make sure the stun hits off the scatter. Not much from the trade.
Yeah, we do see the quick Karthus clear as we are all used to at this point, coming out already, finishing up his last camp, going to be heading over towards the bot lane. Might look for something, might just opt to grab this crab, but certainly feeling very good if you're Flat Shark. Getting that jungle clear off
here
without
we go.
too much going on.
Wall of Pain hits, and Lyrax forced to flash away. Flat Shark losing a good bit of HP. Deadly Flourish won't find its mark, and nice, easy flash burn there from Lyrax.
Yeah, I feel like Lyrax could have gotten out without the flash, but I'm
As
guessing he
oh,
just kind of wanted to maintain his
he
HP.
wants to go in and fight the crab. Adds to the mid laners. Allura dropping a good amount of damage. Now Flat Shark needs some help. They're turning it onto Lyrax. I don't know why we walked up here in the river with no flash. He can't take out Flat Shark. It's first blood to Karthus. Now Nightstar is going to arrive, trying to ride his way into battle. Finds himself one kill. And now the crab gets thrown on the heads of Habibi's kittens. But not enough damage to get anything back just yet. Nightstar revving up. He's going to be slowed down. Habibi Poppy split up from his teammates. And that means Hecarim will find an easy target and an easy kill.
Yeah, a good start here from Nightsdawn, who in the scuffle actually managed to pick up both crabs, so up quite far on Flat Shark now, who did pick up a kill of his own, but definitely feeling really good if you're Nightsdawn in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Hecarim was able to keep up with Karthus on the clear. Make it so that, hey, if you're not going to immediately go for that crab, if you're going to spend time on bot side, I'm going to be able to run down there. My mid laner's going to be able to run down there. We're going to scrap for it, and we're going to come out on top.
And especially after Lyrax did go down immediately there, it's really good for him that his team was able to pull that back, pull out 2 kills, because he could have been in a really tough spot. Schwoog's continuing to trade aggressively against Rough Tough Afro Puff, and feeling very, very good in this Camille versus Tank matchup. A nice stun coming out from Allura, able to get a little bit of damage onto Zero Domain, but Zero Domain will shrug it off and just continue to push out the lane here.
Yeah. I mean, I was a bit confused at the start of that play why Destiny Steel was playing up, just exhausting Habibi Poppy, but Lyrax was trying to make his way forward and make sure that Flat Shark wasn't going to just easily get that crab. So, bit of an odd play. Lyrax still has a bit of a CS lead. We have a bit of a fight over crabs, but, or excuse me, not over crabs, over the chickens. But with Camille cheating her way down, Hearts and Trist just going to evacuate.
Yeah, and crucially, Nightstorm was able to finish off Habibi before he could get in range of the MEOW. Had Genesis gotten there just a little bit sooner, would have been able to come through with the shields, and it might have been Nightstorm who was in a tough position. So, well played by Nightstorm to finish off that quick kill nice and quickly. And allowed his ADC to get quite the advantage here in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely good stuff there. We keep seeing Zero Domain trying to get in for some good trades, try to exert some kind of pressure, but Allura doing a nice job thus far. We'll see if this Tristana really can get that all-in pressure going at level 6, can maybe send the Syndra careening back, as actually we're going to have a flash wall of pain. Lyrax, can he walk this one off? Just needs to evade some Skittles, and not enough damage from Nightdawn, or excuse me, from Flat Shark onto either.
Actually did force the flash out of Destiny still at the end there. The last Q almost landing. Lyrax once again following him into the jungle, zoning him away from that crab that he probably wanted to get there. But yeah, I mean, a pretty aggressive flash by Flat Shark, and I want to point out Destiny Steel with a great bubble to prevent the rest of Flat Shark's team from following up on that engage.
Yeah, really nice stuff out of them, and I mean, right now we're seeing this Hecarim matchup as well just go pretty well for the side of MEOW. Got the farm lead, got the Grubbins, has a bit of an EXP lead as well. Flat Shark should hit 6 off of a few more camps, but yeah, we haven't seen Karthus blitz through the jungle like we saw him last game. Has to deal a bit more with this Hecarim later on. Allura is still getting pushed into his tower and is trying to hang on in there. What lane do you see more action coming to now that we're pressing the 7.5-minute mark and Dragons on the map?
I mean, based on this these top lane trades so far, I think that that's kind of just going to go back and forth. I don't expect anything too crazy happening up there. Oh, well, the caster curse comes through maybe for a second, but not. It's just some more trading. Zero Domain putting a lot of pressure onto Allura, but Allura standing tall, farming up, doing all right. So I'm definitely looking towards this bot lane, as I think both of these bot lanes are pretty gankable, and if either of these junglers are able to make their way there.
Yeah, we see nice interaction by Schwoogs going off the Ornn Q, but he's got to deal with Flat Shark now. Gonna drop the Hextech ultimatum, gonna flash out from the Ornn Horn. Good setup as now in goes Zero Domain, but he's scattered back, and now Hecarim's there to bring him back into range of the tower, but it wasn't quite aggroed. Should still be fine. Nightstorm gonna sweep forward with his glaive. Meanwhile, Karthus ult is gonna tick down the rest of Schwoogs' life.
So right when I said that nothing was gonna happen in the top or mid lane, things happened in both the top and mid lane. Luckily, I guess going kind of back and forth. Obviously, Flat Shark able to finish off that first kill, get that valuable Dark Harvest stack off, but Nightstun with a nice return play in the mid lane, able to get another kill for himself. And both these junglers having all the kills for their team are starting to get very strong.
Yeah, we'll see how this Hecarim looks to build. I'd imagine it's still just some Triforce stuff. I'm not entirely sure. Have not seen the horse around much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, probably change something up a little bit with the item changes, but Triforce definitely always a classically good item on the Hecarim. Allura continuing to trade here with Zero Domain. Zero Domain getting the better end of it.
I feel like we've just seen that. I feel like we've just seen that trade on repeat, where Zero Domain hops in, hits one auto, gets scattered back, and nothing happens. I feel like that's happened as often as Zero Domain has had that ability.
Something like that, and
oh, here we go.
Not much different in the top lane. The trades, the grass going back and forth.
All right, well, at least that time Allura did not have a scatter, so good trade for Zero Domain. We're getting a lot of pressure through in that mid lane, not amounting to as much of a CS lead as maybe the Tristana hopes for, but she's always forward on the map, getting that priority and pushing Allura in under his tower.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, if we look at the bot lane, Lyrax still building up a nice CS lead for himself, getting stronger on this Jhin.
Oh no, the rocket jump got canceled, so Zero Domain's got to flash back. Allura doesn't want to go too aggressive with Karthus in the area. Arrow sailing by, not going to find any target.
Yeah, Lyrax, doing pretty nicely down there. Gonna be pretty happy on this Jhin. This game, a lot of squishy targets to aim for. Is a little bit maybe outranged because of this MEOW, but I imagine Lyrax is going to be able to still do a lot of work in some of these fights coming up. Meanwhile, Shwoog's continuing to just farm up on this Camille, getting some trades in where she can, but she'll only get stronger as the game goes on. We all know how strong Camille can be once she gets a couple of items online.
Yeah, when you start getting that Cho'Gath aura on basic ability. As Allura...
Oh, but now...
The abilities were a bit out of order there, but Night's Dawn is around. Zero Domain now can't quite get hit by this ghostly charge, but he's still in a rough spot. He's still going to get a lot of orbs in his face, and it will be Allura with the kill. Now Shwoog's wanting to keep up the action. Going to drop the ult onto Rough Tough. He's got the Ornn ult, but it does not look like he's got too many ways out. He lands a nice double knockup. Shwoog's down so low. Now Flash Shark trying to land the Qs. It's not quite enough. He still can't get it with the Flash. And now he's running out of mana. He's not finding anything. Allura just dancing around the Karthus and gets himself another kill. That ult may kill Shwoog's. Nope, it does not. I assure you, with First Strike. Actually, no, his First Strike was probably down. So maybe not with that either.
Yeah, but... still, Allura just getting stronger on this Syndra. Manages to pick up 2 kills there. A really well-played fight. Nightstone doing a great job to support as well. And Shwoog setting up the final kill. So really well-played from MEOW across the board. And Habibi and the Kittens are starting to fall even further and further behind.
Yeah, we are seeing an early game go the way of MEOW. I was expecting a bit more Shwoog's in this matchup. Trying to bully out this Ornn. Yeah, he's had a bit of push, but thought Ornn would be having to give up a bit more CS than he has. But so far, Rough Puff hanging in there. The role swap going all right, at least for your top laner. Shwoog keeps trying to go in off the little volcanic rock, but Rough Puff's, he's got Chain Vest, he's got Bonnies, he's chilling. But now Allura may not be chilling, as Zero Domain doesn't get scattered back, now has to force the flash out of Allura. Flash Shark was in the area. Good summoner trade there.
Yeah, and we do see the team starting to converge around this dragon. Looks like Flat Shark is the first one in the area. I can't tell on the minimap if they started it up, but looks like probably not. Yeah, they're just gonna kind of keep floating. Boog's continuing to look for trades up here. Neither top laner with TP, so if a fight breaks out, it will be a 4v4. We'll see if it looks like they're just going to give up this dragon, actually.
Yeah, that will be first dragon going down at 13 minutes. Surprised neither team really wanted to make a move towards it. So it's all out of action around mid lane. So it will not be a very fast soul point, or really anything for either of these teams. We also did see 5 grubs go the way of Night's Dawn and Meow Meow. Decent damage on Zero Domain. He gets out from the Spectral Onslaught just barely by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been disastrous again for Zero Domain now with 3 kills on this Tristana because of how aggressive he's gotten. And Night's Dawn barely whiffing on that ult.
Oh, bubble
Maybe
hit.
he will get cut out.
Actually, Night's Dawn just running into the enemy jungle. Flat Shark is out of luck, it looks like, but he's got teammates. He's got the turn onto Allura. Now Rough Puff trapped in the Hexagon. The Karthus beyond death trying to contribute, but it is still Meow Meow getting the better of this one. Shwoogs needs another hook shot. Will he try to go for this one on to Zero Domain? Does not look like it. It is 2 for 1 in favor of Meow Meow.
Yeah, really, really well played by Night's Dawn, just diving right through onto Flat Shark, able to finish him off and support his team in getting the rest of the kills. They were able to get Allura in response, but that's nowhere near enough, as Lyrax and Destiny Steel with free time on this bot tower will claim that first turret for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, now you mentioned it, Night's Dawn running into the enemy jungle. He's having himself a very, very nice game here on a champion we don't often see against one of the strongest junglers in the meta right now. So, really nice performance by Night's Dawn. He's going to be stabbing spears into more than just Callisto later on.
Yeah, Flat Shark, though, still continuing to farm up, still trying.
Is Genesis dead? Ult? Nope, no ult from Lura, but the Deadly Flourish hits and sets up the Dark Sphere. Lyrax weaving that W right where it needs to be.
Yeah, really well played by Allura to get all the damage through onto Genesis. They tried to fight back. Habibi was there, but just nothing they could do. Kwoogs continuing to look good on this top side. It feels like, I mean, they're just like 4 farm apart. It's just going back and forth.
We talked about how the traits from Allura and Zero Domain felt repetitive. It feels like every time we come up here, Shwoogs is Eing in off of a pillar. The W comes out from Rough Puff, and then Shwoogs leaves before the auto can come down. But actually, no. Gets a quick hook shot in. No chance for the Bellows Breath. Does look like it is just going to be Night's Dawn securing the Herald. No top dive or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, with Triforce now up for Shwoogs, the trades are going to get a lot harder for Rough Puff Afropuff. As, yeah, I mean, these Qs, these empowered Qs are just going to do so much true damage to this Ornn. Lyrax has finished off his IE. Meanwhile, Habibi's still looking for his first item, which should allow him the time to force this mid turret right now.
Yep, that
Night's
is
Dawn forcing the issue, but does back off, so no trade really happens.
Yeah, no trade, really. Night's Dawn just clearing out some vision. We'll see if there's a play in top, but nope, Shwoog's opting for the reset. So right now we're still sitting at a bit over a 4K gold lead for the side of Meow Meow. Are you starting to get a bit uncomfortable if you're the side of Habibi Kittens, or are you trusted in the scaling?
I mean, I've been uncomfortable if I'm Habibi Kittens, if I'm going to be honest. Like, it feels like everywhere is just falling behind. And, well, yeah, maybe the Karthus does offer scaling. Maybe the range of Tristana late game will be good. It's not like some of these champions like Jhin, like Syndra, like Camille can't output damage in the late game. Like, I'm not even convinced that it's a decisive outscale for Habibi's Kittens. So at this point, if I'm down 5k gold, I'm feeling really bad. On the bright side, at least we're able to pick up the first dragon, which means that it will take a little bit longer for Meow 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 to build their way towards that soul. So it gives them a little bit more time to scale. But yeah, it's a tough spot if you're Habibi's Kittens right now.
Absolutely. And I was trying to check to see if I could get how much damage Dark Harvest Karthus has done, but it is not there. Tidal Wave, gonna roll through. Flat Shark dodging away from the bubble. Skyrim can connect. Enchanted Crystal comes out, and it's Destiny Seal in a rough spot, but a massive Syndra W into the unleashed power, and Karthus, that is not a good death in the slightest, but Zero Domain turns it around. A double kill with the Requiem. Shwoog's trying to arrive on the scene, looking to slice up the Ashe. Night's Dawn arriving. They just come in waves, and it is a big fight win for Meow Meow.
Yeah, crucially, Rough Tough Afropuff on the other side of the map was just not able to help with the fight at all. And while Zero Domain was able to find a little bit. While the damage did come through onto a couple of members, it was nowhere near enough as the backup came from Schwoogs and Lyrax just tearing through Habibi's Kittens.
Yeah, that'll set up for the first dragon to go the way of the Meow Meows here. Ocean Dragon falling. Schwoogs cancels the Searing Charge, but I think you should pick up that cannon. I don't know how much you're going to do in these trades. He gives over a Grass Proc. You're going to find another Q2. Oranhorn is going to get sound, and actually Schwoogs chasing this one down fairly well. He doesn't have the Hexagon, and Rough Puff trying to get away, puts up the pillar. Now Schwoogs going to get TP'd on. He's just going to dedicate himself to the cause. And it is a solo kill on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, a 1-for-1, and I guess you could say a 1-for-1 favors the losing team, but not really much going to come out of that at all. The Baron's going to spawn. Both of these players are going to be up for that objective. At least the Zero Domain, the first one in the top lane, will be able to push out, grab that turret, but for some reason they don't have objective bounties, so not even going to get them really much gold back in their pockets.
Yeah, we do see Allura just slowly building up that lead. We talked about him in the first game of Meow Meow, where Allura was hyped up as, the best mid laner here. It was a bit that he was known more for the assassins. We've seen 2 control mage games, and this one going a lot better than the last one.
Yeah, the last time he had quite a amount of trouble. Oh, no. I was actually looking for a kill.
Yeah, you're just going to one-shot him.
We'll just finish off Flash Shark.
Yep, now here comes the Requiem, though. It's going to find a return kill, and this time, it's Habibi's Kittens getting the reinforcements and getting the better of the play.
The resets coming through for Zero Domain was able to catch out Allura early on in the fight, who, despite having his flash up, did just go down. And then Destiny Seal a bit too far forward. So it is a 2-for-1 in favor of Habibi's Kittens. You take those, but I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah, definitely trying to close down this gold lead. They are going to start to get ord items through. But Schwoogs working up towards 2 items himself. He's got 5 grubs to his name. So this Camille in the side lane, even if that team fight's starting to swing, starting to get some momentum with the 2 marksmen and the Karthus, this Camille will perennially be a problem.
Absolutely. And not to mention this Hecarim of Nightstone is just absolutely tearing the enemy team up. 192 farm, 5-0, just completely unstoppable on this champion, and it feels like he just has his way in every fight, dashing into the enemy backline, and no one can stop him.
Yeah, we do see it as a different build than we expected. It's going to be Eclipse plus the Shojin, just trying to stack up on those basic abilities, get those procs, get those item procs going. If only Ingenious Hunter was still in the game. But, yep, they're just moving forward. And actually, Rough Puff sounding the Oranhorn. Directed camera hates us. And I can't use the buttons to get away. But it doesn't look like anything happened other than a Lyrax flash.
Yeah, I mean, you take the Summoner spell. Definitely makes him a little bit easier to cash out in the future. But, I mean, ultimately, still feeling pretty good is Meow Meow Meow. The Baron has arrived on the map. We're having another dragon coming up in 145. But I will say, Habibi's Kittens got to be feeling pretty good that they haven't really fell any further behind in the last few minutes. And if they're able to kind of keep this in this same position, maybe the damage will finally come through from Flatshark on this Karthus, and they can find a way to bring this game back.
Yeah, I will say I expected a bit more attempts like that throughout this game from Habibi's Kittens. I expected, some Ash arrows flying through and some long-range Ornults, the global Karth Assault, to try to just find these picks, try to slowly work their way into the game. Haven't seen a lot of ult shots from Habibi this game.
So, yeah, I feel like Habibi's kind of been invisible on both the games we watched. Like for a player that has such high expectations, you'd like to see him going for more plays, him dominating more fights, but he's kind of just been farming up, and Lyrax is pulling ahead against Habibi pretty easily this game.
Yeah, we do see LDR as the second item for Lyrax. He knows that this Ornn is going to take some time to get through, and so he's just going to try to penetrate that armor as best he can. It is pretty much just armor on the Ornn thus far, trying to deal with the Camille as best as he can. Would really wish Anathema's Chains was still in the game as Ornhorn sounded in the mid lane. They're going to go for Lyriax. Allura gets a scatter. Here comes the arrow, and it's going to find its mark onto the Jhin. Now Rough Puff with a 2-man knockup. No one dead just yet. Redemption keeping the red team topped off. Nightstone, does he want to re-engage? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I mean, a nice bit of damage coming out, but ultimately not really much for Habibi's Kittens, who blew, what was that, 3 ults on the play? Habibi, Flat Shark, and Rough Tough, but they're just going to try to go straight towards the Baron.
Straight towards the Baron?
I don't know how you're going to fight without these ults. Like,
yeah, they do draw MEOW away from the dragon at the very least. No one planted there to solo it down. So it's buying time on the map. They lose some minions to the mid wave. See how MEOW want to navigate this. It looks like they're just sending Hecarim alone to that mountain dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, not even a single sum getting blown from the side of MEOW has to feel bad after that triple ult engage that looks so good. And whenever a play like that happens and you're far behind, it starts to feel bad. Rough Tough Afro Puff, maybe a bit far forward here, but the CC chain doesn't quite land.
Just providing some splinters to Allura as he starts to stack up on that Syndra.
We get a splinter count.
Splinter? I can't believe they called it splinters. That does not make any sense to me. We're at 106.
Oh, we're getting close to 120. He'll be there in by 30 minutes. That's about where you want to be. You're feeling pretty good on Syndra, and Zero Domain still doing pretty well on this Tristana. Does have a bunch of deaths, but farming up nicely, getting his items. But really, just this Hecarim Nightstone, almost a 10 farm per minute on a jungle champ. God. Meanwhile, Flat Shark can't even farm his own jungle.
They are going to try to get something back. Habibi finds an arrow, finds a shutdown for his jungler. So even though you fort shot the blue buff, it may not have been worth it. Rough Puff just getting a bit of scratches down in bot side. And right now, the Kittens are trying to go for Baron.
Yeah, a bit of an aggressive play from Lyrax will give them the window to fight a potentially 4v5. I imagine Nightstone is just going to opt to go for the steal. Actually, it looks like they're
Horn for a turn. They find the knockups only onto Schwoogs. Allura, though, is caught out. Here comes Tristana, but Schwoogs is there with the reaction timing. Locks him in the hexagon. There's no real follow-up just yet. Nightstone can't do much on the backline. Trying to ult to safety, but the bomb blows up. Now, Rough Tough just trying to make sure his team can go back onto this objective. Destiny, Seal, and Allura don't think they stand much of a chance, but the Baron did heal back up. Down below half now is a double marksman trying to get through this one. Here comes Schwoogs trying to hunt down Habibi, and he gets him. Zero Domain on the turn. Exhaust isn't there soon enough. Schwoogs in a 1v3 trying to get Flash Shark. The Baron auto won't quite kill him. It's a mess at the Baron pit.
Yeah, I mean, a couple extra kills coming through from Habibi's Kittens, but without being able to claim that Baron, not really much in the way of gold. At least they are delaying, but with that dragon going over a couple minutes, the next one coming up soon, we're going to need to see a more decisive play from the Kittens if they're going to want to come back into this game.
I would also just like to take this opportunity to point out that in a fight like that, where Flat Shark is ulting at the start, you know what would have done more damage because people weren't low and you haven't hit any of them with any abilities?
Electrocute.
It would have been Kleptomancy, but either way, to me that's part of the power of the cards. If you're taking Dark Harvest, you're more in the ult last territory, and I think it's just better to first strike. Now the team has to come at you with 60 to 50% HP. But either way, I think the Kittens are starting to get some claws in this game. They're getting some ore items, so the gold lead not really as big as it perhaps appears. And now they're able to move forward, get some vision down around this Baron.
I mean, speaking of the Karthus, you know what item he might have right now if the first strike was available and he had that extra gold?
I mean, he'd have a Rabadon's, he'd have a nice hat, but now they're back on the Baron again. Nightstone's on the other side of the map. Schwoogs is setting up for a flank. Curtain call across team. They just want to burn down the objective. Into the pit goes Schwoogs. It's secured by the side of the Kittens. Rough Puff can't find the knockup, but Schwoogs is already dead. The cards has turned this one around. Back into the night. Dawn. They go. Requiem going to come down at the end of the fight this time, but it's not really doing much against the Redemption. It is Baron for the Kittens, but they will lose 3 members when it's all said and done.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're the Kittens, you take that, right? The game's going longer. You're getting a chance to get items on this Karthus. He picked up multiple kills in the fight, does now have access to that death cap. The Dark Harvest continuing to stack up, and you're starting to get a bit worried if you're Meow Meow Meow. The plays recently have not been going your way. Zero Domain also doing a great job putting out the damage on this Tristana, and Habibi Poppy in that fight also doing a lot of work himself. And if they're not able to find their way onto these AD carries, if they're continuing to just take down champions like the MEOW, like the Karthus, who can do something even after he's been eliminated, they're just going to lose all these fights. We really need to see people like Zero Domain, like Habibi Poppy, taken down.
Yeah, and I mean, I do like just generally how Zero Domain has been playing throughout this game. He's been very aggressive. He sees one guy possibly isolated. He's jumping in. He's trying to make those assassination attempts on the Yordle Gunner, Bandle Gunner, whatever it may be. But now we have 22 minutes till the next objective. And it is Meow Meow trying to get in and assert some vision. But the carries are alone. The arrow goes wide, but Allura still takes all of his HP and damage. Zero Domain is able to find a pretty big freebie.
Yeah, a bit far forward were the carries
of
Meow Meow Meow, but now Lyrax not running towards his turret, but instead running into the jungle.
Yeah, he's trying to get back. He's got some Nami speeds. And now Requiem going to come on down. Lyrax is going to die to another crit. And it is Habibi's Kittens. They're starting to build themselves back in, and not quite a lead, but they're definitely back in the game.
There's a lot of standing gold on the map. If they can win one more play like this, all of a sudden that could be outer turrets, inner turrets going in. They only have one turret so far, and just like that, they could be the gold leaders in this game. Now picking up a second dragon for themselves. It will be even on the dragon score, but all of a sudden Flat Shark and Zero Domain are looking like the scariest members in the game. Crucially too, Nightstone Shutdown was claimed, and really good turn of events for Habibi's Kittens, who just a few minutes ago looked like they were out of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the kind of simplicity of the double marksman comp with this frontline Ornn can make things a lot easier. When you're on the side of Meow Meow and you're trying to move in, get vision, it's like, if any of you get hit with an arrow, it can look pretty bad. If Lyrax and Allura are trying to move in and they don't have any sort of front line in front of them, it can look bad in a hurry. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to fight through to these later objectives, as we're just going to go longer and longer. And now Ornn has given everyone, or no, I can't read. He has given away 3 Masterwork items to the Karthus and the Tristana.
Yeah, my understanding is that Masterwork items are somewhere in the range of like 800 to 1,000 gold. So with the gold lead only being about 3k, you have to imagine that with the Ornn items taken into account, it's quite even here.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, and now even the eye edge on Habibi has been upgraded, so Rough Puff has gotten to everyone he probably needs to. Don't know how much more health Milio needs. If he's caught, he's caught. So definitely big deal here, moving through those Masterwork items. And I mean, now if you're on the side of Meow Meow, it feels like the game has been slowly slipping away. What do you want to see them do coming forward? It's probably going to start with not getting hit with this Ornn ult, but it's all too easy with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Lyrax is down, and that mid lane tower is sure to follow.
It seemed like Lyrax is having a great game, absolutely dominating, never getting caught out, but all of a sudden, it feels like every fight, he's just too far forward, not respecting the long-range engage, and he'll just go down again. And finally, these turrets are going to start going down, and the gold lead is going to quickly evaporate.
Yeah, these towers definitely paper to the demolitionist that is Tristana. So a lot of gold coming the way of Habibi's Kittens. Flat Shark yoinking away some camps as well. But actually so much damage onto Habibi. Shrook's trying to go in. It's 4v5 as the Camille is trying to die. Just has to flash away with Zero Domain. Just assassinates the opposite number. And that should make it pretty easy to secure this inhib and maybe more.
Yeah, Nightstone not really given an angle to go into these fights, is just trying to limp away at this point. Will he be able to get out? It looks like he'll be able to grab these minions and just kind of carry them away.
Arrow finds its mark again from Habibi. The Spectral Onslaught to relative safety. I don't know if there's many places he can hide, but he is pretty fast, so should be able to scamper out to safety.
And despite Habibi and Genesis going for the Tony Snell scoreline for most of the game, Habibi has started to look like Kobe with these ultimates, landing each and every one and setting up tons of kills for his team.
Yeah, a lot of big picks now coming through. No Crownies Comets to be seen. And yeah, we are now pretty much at a dead even game, even if you take the Orn items out. So we were talking a lot about Schwoogs being a side lane menace as that Camille gets more ends, but that hasn't exactly transpired. He hasn't been able to take as many structures as maybe he would hope for. These Baron dances have occupied maybe too much of his time in the 5v5.
Yeah, he's found a couple of kills in fights, but it always ends up with him getting killed in return. And you know, if your Fed top laner is just going 1-for-1, that's not really what you want to see. As now they're just going to turn straight back onto the Baron. No one is even in that area of the map for MEOW. We'll see if they're able to make it there in time.
Yeah, no, it's going down so fast. It's already smited away. Schwoogs is still in bot lane as the curtain call is going to at least make retreating more difficult. But with Baron recalls, maybe everyone's going to get out. They still have 4 down here. Genesis is going to count the redemption, is going to cancel 2 backs, but they're not really going to chase it in. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Schwoogs should be A-okay, or is he? Zero Domain going to try to hop forward. Hookshot is nicely canceled by Buzzshot and Schwoogs. That may be a death sentence. He is going to go down 9-4-7 on Flat Sharks Karthus. And with Baron in tow, I don't know how much longer this game's going to last.
Yeah, and Zero Domain just continuing to look excellent on this Tristana. I mean, he's been so good in every single fight. They're able to land the ult not only away from himself, but into his team and setting up the kill onto Schwoogs. And all of a sudden, there's a Baron empowered minion wave pushing down the mid lane with 5 members for Habibi's Kittens, and it's going to be on MEOW to try and put a stop to this.
Yeah, 5 members strong. It are the Kittens. Zero Domain, fine, soaking up some damage. Here comes the Ornhorn and the Requiem. Now Zero Domain hopping in. Another arrow hits, and Alorak just can't play. Another hop in. It's just a Goomba stomp for Zero Domain. Double kill for Tristana. Nightstone, you're a bit late to the show, but I think we can find you a seat right in the back row there. A triple kill for Zero Domain, who hops forward a bit too aggressively. Now Schwoogs is going to try any sort of miracle he can muster, but Habibi will take him down. A 4th shot not even really paid for. Actually, okay, we got Curtain Call coming down from the Jhin, and he finds some good damage, but his towers are looking worse for wear. TP back, a 4th shot, fine shutdown, but now Rough Puff is on the scene. He may be the last one standing, but he will stand for long enough to deliver a win to Habibi's Kittens.
What a comeback. It looked terrible for quite a while. MEOW absolutely dominating the early game, but the scaling Karthus, the range of the Tristana coming through, relentless in these fights, able to take home the victory for Habibi's Kittens and put them up another win on the bracket.
Yeah, really good stuff there from the side of the Kitten, showing some resilience there in that game. And, you know, Karthus didn't deal the most damage this time. That's all I'm going to say. Really good game from Zero Domain, playing aggressive on that Tristana, finding plays, and being a good catalyst for his game throughout the mid game. Big Poppy, I'm going to shout him out for some of those arrows, finding their marks in the long range engage of Rough Tuff's Ornn. Definitely made things a lot easier to just find those picks throughout the mid game.
Yeah, and I feel like we haven't talked about Genesis much at all throughout the game, but a lot of crucial ults coming out from the MEOW on some of these long-range Syndra stuns, on the Camille and Yages, and kind of always there when his team needed them, never really mispositioning, and always there to help his carries.
Yep. All right, folks. With that, we are going to wrap up here on day 1. For those of you who have your eyes on the standings, we do have, let's see, Jason to the 5th power and Big Rat are the highest ranking teams in Group A, whereas in Group B it is Crowd Fund Control and the People's Dominion of Finland. We will be back
Actually,
here.
a three-way tie in Group B between MEOW, Habibi's Kittens, and the White and Blue right now. So, going to be a really exciting group to watch to see which of those two teams can find their way into the bracket stage.
Yep. And we will be back tomorrow to see who can make it through to that all-important bracket stage, who will be down in the gulag. So we will see you guys tomorrow for more DMV rivals.